So sequence generator. Okay, so sequence generator means Rutvik, the thing is when you generate a file, let's say you are creating one EIB or you are creating one core connector worker, okay, or any integration. So let's say you have hard coded the file name, for example, worker.txt. Okay, if you have hard coded something in this way, so basically every day when the integration will run, then every day the integration will generate this worker.txt. Okay, so what will happen in your system, you will be having integration events where the files are stored. So in Workday you will be able to understand on which particular day which file has been generated. Okay, now let's say you are delivering this file to other system. Okay, any system, let's say Concur, ADP, or any other system. Okay, so when you are delivering files there, then every day they are receiving just same file name. They won't be able to identify the file name, right? Like on which date which file has been delivered and which file they have processed. Let's say in future they receive some issue and Workday is saying, okay, I have sent you file on this particular day. They will not be able to understand. So what they generally ask us to do is they ask us to generate file in a sequence so that the dynamic date will be hard coded. So for example, let's say you are you are running integration today, so you want the file to be generated in this way. Let's say 03/07/2024 dot txt. Okay, and the next day when the file will run, then it will be generated as 04/07/2024 dot txt. So every day, whatever date on which integration is running, that date is getting hard coded and your file name is getting generated by appending that date. So this will be very easy for to identify the file name, like which file has been executed on which particular day, right?
Okay.
So to track, so Workday has given one feature, sequence generator. Okay, it's not a date. You can do anything. You can simply also mention, like if you don't want date, you want something like this, like today you have sent workday underscore one dot txt. Tomorrow you want to send as worker underscore two dot txt. Then after that you want to send worker underscore three dot txt. Okay, so here what is happening? This is dynamic. Okay, this is something is not fixed every day, right? So in sequence generator, you are configuring this part.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yesterday when I was configuring the sequence generator, I mentioned the date formatting. Okay. So for EIB, we have one task, create, when you will type create sequence generator. So this create ID definition sequence generator. This task is for to create a sequence generator for EIB. Okay. In
Oh,
core connector, you just enable the service and you will be able to configure the sequence generator. Okay. So there are
okay.
two different ways for EIB and core connectors.
Yeah. Yeah. Understood, Ganesh.
Okay, cool. Any other question from anyone? No. Okay, that's good. So we have completed core connector integrations. In core connector integrations, you can practice other core connector templates. I have already given you some of the templates which you can practice. Okay. Now the next is today we will learn about the DIS, data initialization service. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about the core connector worker. Okay. Today also we are going to discuss the core connector worker only, but we will discuss the DIS service. Okay, and you will see some differences. So DIS means data initialization service. Okay, so what happens basically in core connector worker, when you do not enable data initialization service, okay, when you do not enable with data initialization service, the transactions are happening on a web service using web service. Okay, so every data is Workday is getting every data using web services. So the mechanism of extracting data is a web service. In DIS, basically the data extraction will not happen via web services. Okay, so there is one underlying technology in Workday, and we call that as job framework processing. Okay, so the see, without data initialization service, the processing is happening as a web service oriented. Okay, but if you enable data initialization service, the processing will not happen as a web service. Instead, it will happen as a job framework processing. Okay, so in job framework processing, basically Workday used to extract data from the report fields. Okay, instead of web service, Workday will extract data from the report fields. So in this case, this actually generates better performance than non-DIS. Okay, so basically when I'm talking about DIS and when I'm talking about non-DIS, what does that mean? So let me show you here in Workday, you will understand. So today again, I'm creating another co-connector. Okay, create to create co-connector integration. The task is create integration system. Click on create integration system. Here you just mention, let's say Ganesh batch to CC CCW DIS outbound. Okay, here the template I need to choose as core connector worker. So core connector worker I'm choosing, click OK. Now the integration has been created. Okay, here as usual, you know the steps. I mean, when you click on OK, then you need to configure integration. I mean, before you click on OK, you need to select integration services, then you need to configure integration attributes, then you need to configure integration field attributes, then you need to configure field overrides. Okay, so all those steps we were following. Here what we will do is, here we will simply select one web service. Okay, when we will talk about the DIS, we will just select one web service. Okay, and that web service is this one. So see here, core connector worker data initialization service. Okay, we are not going to select any of these services. We will simply select data initialization service. Okay, so I have selected data initialization service. Now I'm clicking on OK. So when I clicked on OK, it gave me error. That error is for the required attribute. We know that you can click on error. You will be able to see the integration enabled for the integration marked as required for launch. Okay. Now how to configure that? You can simply just go to integration system and configure integration attributes. So here configure integration attributes. Here you need to check what are the required for launch parameters. There is one field I can see, that is version required for launch. So here I'll just give the version, latest version, whatever we have in Workday. So this is the latest version. Click OK. Yeah, click OK. Okay. So now uh, this integration has been created. Okay, so the attributes, you can configure the attributes. Basically phone number, if you want work phone number, if you want legal preferred name or legal name or preferred name, if you want address type as work or home address, if you want phone number as work or home, that is something you can configure in integration attributes. Okay, so earlier what we were doing is we were selecting some of the data section services here. Okay, and then we were selecting the field attributes. Okay, earlier we were following that way. In this one we are not going to follow in that way. Now here I'm directly going to configure field attributes. So I have just enabled data initialization service, configure the required for launch attributes, mandatory attributes, and then I'm just going in the integration field attributes. When I go to integration field attributes, you will see differences. See, here earlier this was not coming like this. Okay, earlier whatever sections you were selecting, you were getting those sections, and from those section you were extracting the data, you were selecting the data. Okay, but when you enable integration as a data initialization service, then you will be having something like this folder structure. Okay, so this folder structure is, this is the main folder. In this main folder there are several sections. Okay, so now here you have to select what are the data sections you want. Okay, earlier you were selecting this personal data section, status data section in the services part. Here you are selecting everything in the DIS part. Okay, so again, like earlier we were selecting data section, so here I'm selecting personal data section, then here I'm selecting a status data section, then here I'm selecting position data section and compensation data section. Okay, like we did before. Okay, so these sections I have selected. Now when you select the personal data section, what you need to do is, here also you need to go to the personal data section. When you selected this checkbox, this means whatever details are available in personal data section you are allowed to use. As of now you have not configured the fields. Okay, as of now you have only enabled the data section. Okay, you have not enabled the fields. To enable the fields, you have to enable the data section first, and in this data section you need to select the data. So now I'm going to the personal data section. Okay, so here in personal data section, again there are folder structures. Okay, so I have enabled personal data section. Now I am good to select data from the personal data section. Okay, so personal data section, as in here you can see legal name, preferred name, address data, all these are selected by default. Okay, so all these are selected by default. Now you are free to use the data from here. So basically, let's say I'm selecting gender, date, birth date, uh, address data, then phone data, and email data. Okay, so I'm selecting this. Now I have enabled legal name, preferred name, name data, gender, and birth date, and there are some other fields. Okay, so whatever sections you have selected, you need to see if those sections are available here or not. If those sections are available, you need to select data from here also. As of now you have not enabled the legal name also. You have just enabled the legal name, but in legal name, first name, last name, that is something you have not selected. So to select that, you need to go to legal name again in the folder, and there you need to select first name, last name, whatever title you want to extract. Now in preferred name, if you want to select fields, you can again select first name, last name, or let's say any other thing. And then in name data, this is an additional name data. Okay, so here also if you want to select first name, last name, title, you can select. Okay, then apart from this you have selected address data and phone data. So in address data you just click on address data, then in address data you select address data type, address line data, municipality, sub municipality, region, country, postal code, country. Okay, so all these things have selected. Then I have selected the phone data in the personal data section. So in phone data, I want phone type. See, one thing here you remember, that is the main clause when you will be selecting fields. Okay, let's say I am selecting this data from this phone data. Okay, but if I do not enable phone data from the parent folder, okay, for this phone data, the parent folder is worker personal data section. Okay, if you do not enable phone data in personal data section, you won't be able to get those fields in the file. Okay, similarly, you are selecting data from personal data section, but in the parent folder, if you do not enable personal data section, you will not get those data in the file. So you need to select data based on hierarchy. First of all, you need to select data section from this parent folder. Then in the child folder, you need to select whatever data you want in the file. And then in the subsequent child node, okay, your child folder, you need to select the fields relevant which you want in the output file. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. So let's say here is primary phone number, phone, this is enough. Then email type, email address is primary. I have selected. Now we have status data section. Okay, so this personal data section is completed. Now we
Ganesh,
have
I have one question.
yes, go on.
So what is this maximum length?
Yeah, so maximum length, I explained earlier. So basically the thing is, let's say you have one name, okay? Let's say
Mm.
you have one name. You have name, let's say Shalini, and then can you suggest any long name? Okay, anything. Let's say let's say Shalini Nayak, then something else, okay, blah 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 blah, something else, okay. Now in the maximum length you mention for the name attribute 15 characters, okay. So what it will do is, say this Salani comes within 15 characters, it will not generate any warnings, okay. But this name comes beyond 15 characters, right? So for this name, integration will generate warnings. Okay, it will give
Okay.
you, like, for this worker name length is exceeding maximum
Uh,
characters. So
okay.
that valid for that validation, that maximum characters are there.
Okay. So it's works for both, right? For the for text and for the number value, both.
Yes, yes. Wherever it is
Okay.
enabled, it will work for that. Okay.
Mhm.
So now in worker status data section, I'm just enabling employee status, active, hire date, nothing much. Then I have enabled position data section. So in position data section, uh, I need position ID, then effective date. If I need job classification data, then I need to enable job classification data here. For example, this is the enablement. Okay, here you need to enable job classification. Then you go to job classification and then you select what job classification you want. Okay, so this is how you are going to configure. Then I have configured compensation data. So in compensation data, I just need effective date, total base pay. This is all. So this many fields I have selected. Now click on OK. So basically here you understand the difference. Okay. So the difference is in normal CCW and core connector worker DIS. Okay. In CCW is web service oriented data extraction, whereas DIS is job framework oriented, where data is extracted from report fields. This is one. The second difference is in CCW, enable data section in integration services, then select fields. Whereas in DIS, enable data initialization service and then select fields from DIS folder structure. Okay, this is second difference. Okay, so second difference is done. Now third difference. Okay, so earlier when you were creating, you were defining eligibility in field override service. Okay, so here let me open the integration system. So here also you have field override service. Okay, but sorry, but you will see one more option in DIS, configure integration population eligibility. Okay, so earlier in normal CCW, this configure integration population eligibility was not there. Okay, this is a new feature when you enable DIS data initialization service. Okay, so in field override, you will see to define population eligibility. But when you will enable DIS, then that eligibility doesn't work. Okay, the eligibility which you will configure here in integration population eligibility, that is going to work. Okay, so here in field override service, yeah, in field override service, here you can see, right, define eligibility. Okay, so this eligibility will not work. Okay, basically the eligibility which you will configure in population eligibility, that is going to work. Okay, so I'm not configuring this. So the difference is population eligibility. In normal CCW, configure population eligibility in field overrides service, whereas in DIS eligibility will be configured in configure integration population eligibility. So this is the third difference. Okay, so here I'm configuring now the integration population eligibility. Yes, I'm not giving any a specific at this point of time. I'm just giving is true, which is in general eligibility. So this is configured. Then the next difference is earlier for calculated fields, okay, you were creating a new custom integration services, and there you were creating field override service. Okay, the next difference is in normal CCW. See, wherever I'm mentioning CCW, you just understand non-DIS CCW, normal CCW, okay? And wherever I'm just mentioning DIS, that means, this is also CCW only, okay? But this is DIS enabled, okay? So when you're writing notes, okay, you just understand this thing. You mentioned here non-DIS CCW and DIS CCW, okay? That will be more clear. So in normal CCW, to configure calculated fields, you were required to use calculated or external fields, custom integration service, sorry, field override service is created in custom integration service, whereas in DIS you can configure calculated fields directly in field override service. So let's see. So here just go to configure integration field override. Yeah, so now here define eligibility, you just ignore that. Go for CTW for DIS. Here you can see worker additional information. Okay. So in here, worker additional information, you can simply click on plus. Come on. Yeah. So here in CCWDIS enable, you can simply give the name. So yesterday I added security key, right? So here I'm again adding the security key. Okay. And in security key, here I can simply use the calculated field, which has been created on worker business object. So you are defining the label as well as calculated field at the same time here. Okay. So no complications. When I logged in, tenant was working good. Now again it, come on. So this field I used yesterday, I'm using the same field. So whatever text field you're using here, okay, same in data type, it will be automatically populated. Okay, if it is not populating, then you need to populate. Hmm. Here I'm selecting text. Then let's just use one more field. So hire date format something I used. Let me mention manipulated hire date, and here I'm using CF hire date format. If I need to use this tenant, for training, I think you guys will be the last batch which I'm training. CF format date. Let's use this one. Here you can mention the description as well. Okay. Like this field is for what? Just for see everywhere, wherever you see the description, you should be updating those description. Okay. So description is something, let's say you created one integration, there is something complex logic. Okay. The other people joining, when you leave the company, other people joining or other people started work, they will not be able to understand. Okay. So to make their things easy, okay, ideally you should, oh no, now again I need to configure. Not sure why this happens. I have never seen this in any tenant. See, configuring this is a very challenging task, and when you configure, it just wipe out your things. So security key, again, I'm just configuring here. Ganesh, Okay, then I'm configuring it. See, automatically this populated, right? So earlier, I think due to slow processing, it was not populating. Now I'm just mentioning manipulated higher date, and here CF higher date format. So let's say higher format date, this one. Automatically this will be populated. I'm not adding anything. See, if you need to add a calculated field from another section, so for example this one, position data section. Okay, so in position additional information you will be able to see. So if you have any calculated field which is on position, you want to extract in this, here you can easily extract using plus, the same way, which I have configured for workers. So I'm not configuring anything at this point of time. I'm clicking OK, otherwise that will also wipe out. So, so now your integration is ready. So basically you have configured everything. You have configured fields, you have configured the field overrides, okay? You have configured almost everything. So I'm running this integration now. Integration, launch, click OK. Then here I'm giving the full file again. I'm just using the same profile, Jacqueline and Logan McNeil, Jacqueline, Jax, and let's Jack Clark. And then I'm just giving one more, Logan McNeil. Okay, now I'm selecting full file. I'm clicking on OK. See why this system is slow. Actually, the thing is, if you open the process monitor, there are many things running behind the scenes. Okay, that is why this tenant is slow. Okay, and many people have just created reports. They have scheduled the reports. They have created the integration. They have created schedule for the integrations. Okay, so every time in the system, many things are running. That is why this tenant is becoming slow and slow. And every day, many people are creating many objects here. Okay, someone is creating custom reports, someone is creating calculated fields, someone is creating integrations. Okay, someone is trying to get data from web services. So many things are happening. That is the reason, this tenant is slow a bit. So here output XML. I'm just opening output XML. Which one is latest? This one. Okay, now here you see the data. Okay, so the data is something similar. Okay, let's say worker, there are 4 workers I have given. So let's see if there are 4 workers. See, there are 4 workers. Okay, so there are 4 workers. Now let's explore data for each and every worker. So this is a summary section, eligibility, then personal data section. In personal data section, in name data section, I have selected first name, last name. Then I selected the address data. In address data, I selected the address type, municipality, region, postal code. Then in phone data, I selected phone data is primary phone number. Okay, so the structure is something different from the structure which we were getting in normal core connectors. Okay, here the XML structure, the root node, the parenting, the child nodes, the structure is different. However, we are getting the same data. Okay, here the same additional information is there where I have configured 2 fields, security key and manipulated higher date. Okay, so those are something I can see here. Then in compensation, I have selected effective date, total annual base pay. That is something I can see here. In position, I have selected position ID, and effective date. In status, I have selected employee, employee status, active status, higher date, all those things I can see. Okay, so this is how it will be printed. So guys, which one you think is easier? Normal CCW or this DIS enable CCW?
This one is easier for me
Why this one is easier?
because everything is there. We need no need to go like create that field override going out and then create and then add into that.
See, basically,
Like
there are two major benefits. The one thing is when you see configuration point of view, the steps are uh, the steps are less than the normal CCW. Okay, that is one thing. The second thing is from performance point of view, this DIS enabled CCW is better than the normal CCW.
faster also.
Okay, so it's faster actually. Okay. So this is how we configure DIS. Okay, I have already given the differences. Mainly in interview, they are going to ask the differences. Okay, they are going to ask like what is difference in DIS enabled. Okay, so the main thing, the first thing they will be expecting is this is not a web service oriented. This is a job framework processing. In DIS, the processing is happening based on job framework. Okay, and in that job framework, basically the data is extracted from the report fields. Okay, then they will ask the differences. I have given you four differences, the four major differences. You can add one more difference. The XML structure will also be different in normal CCW and in DIS enable CCW. Okay, and rest of the things are same. Rest apart from the major the differences I have explained, the rest of the things, for example, configuring sequence generator, configuring integration business process for document delivery and retrieval. Okay, all those will be same. Okay, so this is the difference. Any question in DIS?
Not specific to the DIS, Ganesh. There is one when we generate the report, there is one option like ESP or something, ESP integration. What is mean by ESP? Like the what is the full
Where?
form of
Sorry,
that?
where?
It's ESP. Can you go to that final report one? Yeah, go up.
Here.
Yeah. Here is the request, right? Like the child process one, integration, ESB innovation,
See, I mean,
invocation.
this is just a invocation. I mean, here your integration has been initialized, okay, and the
Yeah.
actual integration is getting processed here.
Oh, okay. So, but
Okay,
there is nothing specific for ESP,
no,
right?
no,
Okay.
no, no. It's nothing specific. I mean, nobody will ask you this thing. Okay,
Okay.
so you just understand like this is a you can understand. See, even I don't know the full form of ESB to be honest. Now you have asked, I need to go and check what this means.
Because
Okay,
here also it's written process type is ESP, so that's why like
sorry, where process type is
it's a
ESB.
process type is ESP. So same in the same line, like third row.
Oh, this one. Okay, ESB.
Yeah.
So this is something I'll check. Okay, and then I'll let you know. But as of now,
Okay.
I have never explored this thing. Okay, see,
Hmm.
I'm working in Workday from a very long time, but still I don't know what is this. But I'll
If it's
just
not in use, then it's okay.
no, I mean I'll just check in Workday community what this means,
uh,
and then maybe in the next class I'll explain. Okay, but these are
uh,
the things. See, simply these things are something. See, in business process I
yeah.
explained right a step by step execution.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is you can understand as a business process only where step by step
Hmm.
execution is happening. The first step is initialization. Initialization is happening. Then integration, invocation is happening, and then integration event is getting triggered. Okay, so this is
Hmm.
how this means. But this is actually uh, not that kind of relevant thing to be honest. Okay, but
Okay.
still it's good question you have asked. Okay, I'll try to explore and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
Any other question? So you guys are good with DIS, right?
Yes, Ganesh.
Okay, now uh now basically the next is okay, CCW is completed, CCW DIS is completed. Now change detection. In change detection now you guys know, but there is one concept in change detection. And okay, which screen you can see right now?
The background process, the Workday one.
Okay, okay. So see, tomorrow we will start working on the transformation. We will talk about XSLT and we will start creating XSLTs as well. But before XSLT, just one more thing I just wanted to explain you guys, and then I'll give you uh, one activity today. Okay, so basically change detection. Okay, in change detection there are two kinds of change detection. Two kind of change detection means if the one is two kind of change detection. In change detection basically two kind of processing. Okay, so processing in change detection is of two types. Okay, so the processing method we call that as a stack processing. Stack processing. Now whoever has worked in database, definitely you might have heard this stack. Okay, so top of the stack, something like that. Okay, so in stack processing, basically in change detection there are two kinds of stack processing. The one is top of the stack. Okay, and the second is effective stack. Okay, so top of the, what does that top of the stack means, and what is effective stack means? Okay, so let's say there is, you are running a change detection integration. So there are two time frames, time one, let's say, and there is another time frame, time two. Okay, so in between time one, time two, and time one, let's say there is one worker X. Okay, this worker is Mr. X. Now for this Mr. X, transactions are happening. Okay, so the transactions are happening in such a way, like transactions. The first transaction is Mr. X updated email address as abc at the rate of xyz.com. Okay, then in this time frame only, Mr. X updated same email address as 123 at the rate of abc.com. Okay, and then in the same time frame, Mr. X is very confused about his email address, what exactly he needs to update. He updated third time. Okay, third time he is updating the same field. So in this time frame, time two and time one, Mr. X is updating email address for the third time. And this time he thought, like, he will give Mr. X as email address. Okay, now he is satisfied. Okay, whatever transaction he has to do, he has done. Okay, so in this time two and time one, in this time frame, basically Mr. X updated same field three times. Okay, it's not about the same field. Okay, Mr. X may have updated another details as well. For example, Mr. X might have updated phone number. Okay, phone number along with email address, Mr. X has updated phone number also, or Mr. X has updated name as well. He is not happy with his name also. He has updated some weird name as well. Okay, so what I mean to say is, in these two time frame, Mr. X is updating a lot of things. Okay, Mr. X is doing a lot of transaction in his profile. So here I'm just considering three examples, three transactions Mr. X has performed in his profile. Okay, T1, T2, T3. So basically, when you will run the change detection integration between time one and time two, in change detection in top of the stack, what happens? You will get whatever data is updated, whatever data is latest updated by Mr. X when integration is running, that data will be picked up. Okay, so in top of the stack, if Mr. X has updated 3 times or done multiple transactions, whatever data is latest in the system during integration run, that will be updated. So here, if email address will be fetched for Mr. X, it will come as Mr. X at the rate of abc.com. Okay, now in effective stack, okay, what happens in effective stack, whatever transactions, whatever number of transaction, number of times transaction Mr. X is doing in his profile, everything will become in a effective sequence. Okay, so here the data will come as effective sequence 1, where Mr. X, this email will come. Okay, then effective sequence 2 will also come, and there Mr. X 123 email address.com will come, and then effective sequence 3 will also come with the actual Mr. X email address. Okay, so this is what happens in a stack processing. There are two kinds of processing. One is the top of the stack processing and another is effective stack processing. So the integration, the core connector worker integration, where you were working on, we were creating. So that core connector worker works on top of the stack processing. Okay, works on top of the stack processing. No matter how many times you have updated the data, the core connector worker will simply see which data is latest. It will pick the latest data, okay, and it will generate in the output file. Okay, now there is another mechanism, effective stack. Okay, so now if core connector worker is not able to generate data, this effective sequence data, then how exactly we will get this effective sequence data in output file? Okay, if any vendor is asking for all the transactions which Mr. X has done, then how exactly we will generate? Okay, so for that one we have another template. Okay, we have another template. So I'm just creating integration system. Come on, man. Yep, so I'm just going create integration system. Here I'm just giving the name whatever I would like to see. Ganesh Vichi batch 2 Vichi. Okay, and here we will type worker effective change interface. Worker effective, I think I have given some. Yeah, so worker effective change interface. Okay, this worker effective change interface will generate data in effective sequence. Okay, so this template I am leaving for you guys. Okay, you explore, you create one integration system. You know how to create. Okay, you know how to enable services. You know how to enable data sections. Okay, here it is by default DIS enabled. Okay, it seems. Okay, by default DIS enabled. If you click on OK, then this is the normal one. Your tenant is not enabled. Oh, okay, so basically if you will create this Vici integration, you will not be able to run this Vici integration in this tenant. Basically there are two templates. Okay, two templates. One is Vici, another is Peachy. Okay, someone will call Weki and Peki. Okay, so whatever you want to call, you call. Okay, but the actual full form is worker effective change interface, and then PG means payroll effective change interface. Okay, so these two templates will generate data based on effective stack processing. Okay, no matter how many number of transaction has happened on worker profile, it will pull all the transactions, okay, in sequence wise. Okay, so I mean, there is no point of giving this activity to you guys, because this is this tenant is not grid enabled. So even though if you create this integration, you will not be able to run effective stack processing templates. Your tenant needs to be grid enabled. This is just a term. I don't know what that means is. That is also something I need to explore. But you just remember, if your tenant is not grid enabled, then you will not be able to work on Vici and Pichi. Okay, your tenant has to be grid enabled. Okay, so the normal core connector thing I have already explained you. This is something advanced topic. Okay, in basics we generally don't explain these things, but I am explaining because nowadays world is running on these templates. Okay, so that is why I wanted to give you this information. So no worries guys, whenever you join there, uh, you can create and learn this worker effective change interface and payroll effective change interface. Actually, these are separate training. This PG is a complete 3 week separate training. Okay, just this template is having 3 weeks training. Okay, for which that's a normal. That is something like core connector worker only. A little bit of more functionality is there. Okay, so which is fine, but for PG we have a separate training. Okay, but whenever you get chance, I would recommend you just try to create this Vici and Pichi integrations. Okay, I will try to get some differences between worker core CCW and Vici. One difference is simple, like in CCW you will get top of the stack data. Okay, whereas in CCW you will get top of the stack data, whereas in Vici you will get effective sequence data. Whatever transaction has been entered between time 1 and time 2, you will get everything. Okay, and to run Vici integration and Pichi integration, your tenant has to be grid enabled. Okay, so Workday actually takes separate cost to enable grid in your tenant. Okay, it is not free. Grid enablement is not free. They used to charge from the companies, okay, to enable grid. Okay, and as I mentioned, they used to take charge. So definitely that they these people have not paid that much, I believe. Okay, I mean, this is something normally nobody pays. Okay, so this is something you can learn whenever you get chance. Okay, any questions so far?
Uh, Ganesh, I have yesterday I created that CCW temp like integration and all, but when I run that, like it's not showing me that the output file is not .xml. It's just a file. But how do I run that? Like how do I see that file as an XML format?
Sorry, what you're saying? Output file is not XML.
It's like yeah, it's .xml is not showing. It's just a file.
Dot XML is not showing, and it is just a file, and you want to
Yeah,
open
yeah,
that file.
yeah,
So that is created in CCW.
yeah.
So did you configure anything in the file name? Can you give me the integration name?
Yeah. It's Shalini underscore.
Yeah, let this close first. Yeah, 1 second. Intersys. Okay, Intersys
Shalini
Shalini.
underscore. Lot of them. Yeah, the first one, top one.
Okay, did you
Can
configure?
you?
No, you have not configured any file name anywhere, right? Yeah, I'm just opening your integration event.
Okay. I think because of slow, like I was like,
Okay, you have configured sequence generator, and in sequence generator you did not give .xml, is it?
I think so.
Let me see. You can suppress audit reports. Okay, in attributes there is one option, suppress audit reports. Okay, so you select that suppress audit report. You won't be able
Okay.
to see this much audit reports. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
then let me just check your file.
This
Yeah,
one.
so you have configured sequence generator in which you have not given the extension. Okay,
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
XML file. This is XML file, but you won't be able to open that XML file because there is no extension. Okay, now if I want to open, you can do one thing. You can simply just drag and drop on the web browser. Okay, here you will be able to see the data. Okay, but as .xml is not there, okay, the data will look like this.
Okay. Yeah.
Worker count is 0. No worker was picked up.
Okay.
Also you can open you can open, see, always any file you can open in Notepad. Okay, so
Oh,
you
so
can just
that option is, I don't know, it's not enabled for,
see here in
yeah.
Notepad also, you will say in Notepad, you will get something in this way. To
Yeah.
formatting, I think they have not, okay, they have not installed XML plugin. So basically when you will install XML plugin in Notepad++, when you will press Control Alt B, okay, Control Shift Alt B, then automatically it will be arranged in a indentation order. Indentation order means it will show you the way it is showing in here in the way it is showing here, right? Like this is one, then there is one indent, and after that indent, the summary is there. Then again, in sequence, in proper format. Okay, so in this Notepad++, that plugin is not installed. That is why.
Go to View
Uh,
tab, Ganesh. Go to View tab.
mhm,
Yeah. Click on View current file in option, right?
mhm.
Yeah, Chrome. Chrome.
So
No, because the extension is not there, right? So it's not gonna
yeah,
show.
now if I give here,
Even like now, I cannot see that notepad option, Ganesh, to open because
okay,
last
now
time,
so now I have just mentioned .xml directly after downloading, and if I open, now it is giving
no.
you normal. Okay, so when you configure sequence generator, I would recommend you use extension as well.
Extension as well, right? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
okay, because that is when you configure sequence generator, then file name will be generated based on your sequence generator. Okay, so if you're not
Right.
giving extension, that will
Yeah.
not be appended. Okay, and extension is major thing when you talk about any file structure, right?
Yeah. Even in like
.txt, .xml.
yeah, like EIB also, right? We need to provide that .xml
Yes, yes,
extension.
yes.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay.
Okay. See,
Mhm.
you will be able to see data in the Notepad++, but when you will send this file to the downstream system, they
No.
won't be able to consume. They will
Yeah.
just they will kill your
It's
head
just
actually.
a
Okay.
text file.
Yep. They will say, what is this? I am not able to process. So
Yeah.
basically, extension should be there. Okay.
Okay. So I think
Any
Notepad, like I think last week I talked with you, right? The Notepad is not Notepad plus plus is not enabled for like
okay.
it's not showing for me. So I'll see how it's today.
Yeah, no worries. Even I have to ask them to install plugins and all. So I mean, next day tomorrow, I'm gonna start. Let me see what else. So DIS, I have explained. CCW is finished. Vichy is something I have given you the idea, but I'll try to get some differences between CCW and Vichy because that will be important from interview point of view. Okay, so if you're not able to create, at least you should be having that knowledge. Okay, so I'll try to get that, and then also, okay, I need to talk regarding documentation as well. I forgot today as well, but tomorrow definitely I'll do that. If I do not do, then I'll do during call only. Okay, I'll talk to them, then I'll share the documents first. Let me see if they have enabled. No, they have not enabled.
So Ganesh,
Direct.
Vici template, right? So
Yes, yeah, that's the
uh,
template.
template. So in CCW,
Not
okay,
in
which we can
CCW. That
use
is
in.
different.
Is for every, it's
That
an
is different
integration.
template. CCW is one template, which is another template.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.